Yo, what's going on, Buffalo Fanatics? How you guys doing this morning on a lovely Saturday morning? It's none other than the Buffalo Fanatics Riders Club. I am your host, Rev Rose, joined by my partners in crime. I've got Zach Vaughn here up on the top hand corner of the screen, followed also by Kevin Syracuse down here at the bottom. You guys say what's up to the family. Let them know how you feeling.
What's up, BF fam? Happy Saturday. And we're here at training camp today. They're reporting.
It is definitely training camp. Training camp is tomorrow. I hope you guys are excited about it. I'm sitting here. That's why I had to go ahead and don the Josh Allen jersey, man. As we approach training camp, man, I'm getting excited. I'm getting fired up because we got football coming, and so I am pumped up. I can't wait. Zach Vaughn is up here in the corner. In case you think that he's like playing mannequin, he's not. He's having some issues here, some technical difficulties with his Wi-Fi this morning. I think he's capping a little bit. I'm gonna talk about it here shortly in the show. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring it. Oh, he's back. I think he's back. Hold on. Let me pop him back in here. There we go. Hold on. Now we got two of you up here, man. What's going on? There he is. Zach, what's going on, man? Let everybody know how you feeling. Come on, Zach. Yo, Zach is frozen again. Hey, Evan, go ahead and kick him out of here, man. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. We'll bring him back here shortly. Yo, but it is the Buffalo Fanatics Riders Club, joined by, you know what I'm saying, my man, Kev Syracuse. We're gonna get Zach Vaughn back here shortly. I don't know what's going on. He said his Wi-Fi has been tripping this morning. And it looks like it may be the case. So hopefully, it's gonna do right. Pop him back in here, Evan. Pop him back in here. Let's see.
Am I on?
There we go.
Oh God, that's wonderful. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
There we go. Hey, Zach, to let everybody know how you feeling, man.
I'm feeling pretty good considering my Wi-Fi situation here, but I mean, you're gonna talk some Bills. You got a dynasty startup draft going on too.
Oh yeah, we got that, and I think that's part of the reason why Zach is having some issues. He's multitasking this morning. Yo, he's got a dynasty draft that is bumping off. Matter of fact, he had scheduled it before the broadcast, and so it's actually at the same time as the show. I think it's going on right now, Zach?
Yep, I am on the clock. Unfortunately, Josh Allen was going to be my pick, but he went one pick before me.
No way.
Major pain.
Oh, my gosh. So what are you picking? What number are you picking?
I'm picking 8th out of 12.
All right.
Top choices, because I set up a queue in case there were Wi-Fi issues.
Uh-huh.
My choices right now are Austin Eckler, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Williams, or Joe Burrow, who's on a cheaper deal. Actually, I think I might just go Burrow. You always need that quarterback in Dynasty.
You definitely need the quarterback. So when did Josh Allen go? When did he go?
7th overall.
7th. Golly, man, golly. So who you going with? You need some help from the chat?
I selected Joe Burrow. Get that quarterback.
Joe Burrow. Man, I
also,
probably would have went with Herbert or something, man.
Herbert went like 2nd overall.
Dang.
The other interesting thing about this, and that's probably why Allen lasted until 7, is this is a dynasty owner, dynasty platform.
Uh-huh.
So there's a salary cap, like a legit salary cap based on average annual value.
Uh-huh.
As I like to say it, I think dynasty owner is a much better value than Madden as a franchise mode.
Right. I feel you.
So that's part of the reason, like Josh Allen's salary cap is now up to over $40 million or whatever. So,
yeah.
And Joe Burrow's got like his rookie deal for 2 more years. So at the very least, to get that, free up a little bit of wiggle room to maybe splurge on a few weapons.
Okay. Well, now I'm glad you brought up Dynasty, man, because in case you guys don't know, we here at BF, I mean we got Dynasty popping. Right, we got Dynasty popping. Hold on, Evan. Let me go ahead and get this real quick because I want to show this to all the fans here. Since we're talking about it, since my man Zach is over here multitasking this morning, he's over here multitasking with Dynasty app, and the fantasy. So this is what I want to show you guys here. Check this out in case you haven't, because fantasy's running. It's right now. It's now and around the corner. So in case you haven't gotten your fantasy league going on, check this out.
Dynasty Owner is the best way to play fantasy football. Get inside the mind of an NFL GM as you use real NFL markets and off-season moves to make your Dynasty Owner team the best in the league. Download the Dynasty Owner app on the App Store or Google Play today. You've never experienced fantasy football quite like this.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. So, Zach, is that what you rocking right now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, last year I did my first one, which is in a group with like Pierre and a bunch of other content creators on BF and other sites. I enjoyed it so much, I wanted to do a second one. This one's just for the love of the game, no prize money involved.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I'll do another.
Okay. And so your draft. So see, that draft is kind of early. So I'm in a league. I'm in a PPR league, and our draft is we always draft. I think it's like right after preseason or like during preseason or something like that. Like I think we wait until like probably like one of the last games because we don't want to risk anybody getting hurt. After we draft, and so we kind of wait late in the year. So but you guys are getting started early, man.
Yeah, they offer like a few different slots or whatever, and I kind of just wanted to get one where I could just draft and have it set. So
yeah, okay. Look, we had a question that came up. Herbert over Allen, man. I can't believe that. Like I saw that too. When you had mentioned it, I was like, what? They actually selected Herbert over Allen. I don't know what they were thinking, man. I don't know. Kevin, if you play fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you? The answer is probably no. But would you select Justin Herbert? No way, huh?
I mean, Herbert's great, and if he's there, I'm going to take him. But that's only if Josh Allen has already been drafted.
Exactly.
Because Allen's been the number one fantasy quarterback the last 2 years.
He has been.
I mean, whether you think it's biased or not, I could be living out in Alaska, and I would still draft Josh Allen.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, all day, every day. I wonder, Zach. I mean, was that guy who drafted Herbert? Is he a Chargers fan?
I'm not exactly sure. For the most part, it's like new people who haven't done it before. But like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, considering there's a salary cap, Justin Herbert is on his cheap rookie deal, so that's probably one of the factors that the guy took into consideration. And considering that offense should be really good.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Deshaun Rambo comes in. He has the Chargers Bills AFC Championship game. Look, that would be a freaking ridiculous game. I think. My brother is a huge Chargers fan, and I've gone on record before saying how much I really love Herbert. So I think that would be a fantastic game. I would just be glad just not to see KC in there. That's all that matters. As long as we're in there, and forget KC, I am good to go with all that. So look, guys, we have a fantastic show for you guys this morning. And appreciate you guys joining us. Matter of fact, do me this favor right now. Go ahead and hit that like button. Click on the subscribe button as well if you're not subscribed to the channel, so that way you can stay up to date with everything that we've got going on here at Buffalo Fanatics, because we're going to bring that heat every week. This is what we're going to do. And man, as training camp is tomorrow, and then we got the season ramping up, it's going to be fire, and I can't wait for it. But today we've got some things that we want to do, and we want to talk about today. We have a few guests that are going to join the show here a little bit later on, and we're gonna set the show on fire today. We're going to set the show on fire today. There might be some fighting, some arguing, some debating, all that kind of stuff. It's going to get pretty heated today with a couple of guests that we've got coming on here. So you want to stay locked and loaded here on the Buffalo Fanatics Riders Club. But guys, before we get started, I've got a game that I want to jump in. We had done this last week, right? But I have a trivia game, and I'm not too sure if you guys are going to answer this question. I don't know. And everybody in the chat, I want you all to join as well. in this question. Zach, are you there? Zach, are you there? Did this brother get frozen again? He got froze. Kev, so what's this mean to you right now, Kev? Okay, it's meaning you, Kev.
Right.
And so we're gonna do this trivia question. All right, so Evan, go ahead and hit that game for me, because this is what I want to ask you guys. Can you name that bill? Can you name that bill? Is the game this morning. So everybody in the chat, get ready. My man Kev, get ready. Zach, he's just gonna have to answer the question off air until he gets his Wi-Fi situation figured out. So, you ready, Kev?
Let's do it.
All right. The Buffalo Bills used a 2001 second-round draft pick to select a running back. That's a good clue for you, who had an impressive but short career with the Bills. Which former Bills dominant running back is this guy I'm talking about?
I'm going to answer it now, or is this like a time thing?
No, go ahead. Go ahead and answer.
Was it McGahee? Was he that early?
It was not McGahee. Anybody else? Let's see. Anybody in the chat who may be able to come up with this answer. Let's see here. I'll give you another shot. As a matter of fact, while we're talking about this and while we're thinking about it.
Oh wait, you said second round, right?
Yeah, second
McGahee
round.
was first.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was first. Yeah. So you got it's got to be second round. So let's go ahead and put some music on while we're thinking about this. The Buffalo Bills used a 2001 second-round draft pick to select a running back who had an impressive but short career with the Bills. Which former Buffalo Bills running back
I got
am I
another
talking
guess.
about?
Is it Travis Henry?
Hey, there you go, baby. There you go. He got it. Travis Henry, my man, Travis Henry. Yo, Travis Henry was a dog, man. He had a short career, but that dude was, man, he was legit. The good thing about the Bills, man, is that the Bills always had very good running backs, man. Very good running backs. But yeah, Travis Henry, and he only played with the Bills for like 3 years, which is crazy. He had a short season, then he went to Tennessee, and then the dude got locked up. he got locked up too, if I'm not mistaken.
My first memory of Travis Henry is my first ever video game was Madden 05, I believe, on my PC. And I would sit there back on my computer. I don't even remember the controls, where it was like C and D would be like the speed burst, And I would just be running around as Travis Henry. And I was like, wow, this guy's so good. And those are my first memories of the Bills. And I was just like, wow, I got to go see this guy play in person now. Right. And that's not the reason why I started going to games, but shortly after is when I started going to preseason games, and then I started seeing all these guys in person, and I was like, "Hey, this is pretty cool."
Yeah, Travis Henry is a good guy. Zach, do you remember anything about Travis Henry?
I just remember him mainly for two reasons. One, I think my dad won like a autographed game-worn Travis Henry jersey at like a charity event or something years ago, and two, as the guy who was before Willis McGahee. I don't really recall him much as a Bill.
Yeah, he was a good back, man. He just had a real short stint with the Bills. He was a big dude too, man. A big dude, like 230. Like he was you talk about power back. Zach Moss ain't got nothing on Henry, man. That like he was that guy. So anyway, yeah, Travis Henry. Jason, you fool, man. You are a fool. A busy man off the field. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, he's busy. All right. I wasn't gonna get into it all the way like that, I wasn't gonna do my man dirty like that, but yeah, Jason had to come through and say it. Yeah, he's been busy, no doubt. He's been busy. All right, fellas, that's enough. So we may Charity, it's not Mike Gillisley. Not Mike Gillisley. It was Travis Henry. We may do another one later on today. I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling. But yeah, Travis Henry, the Buffalo Bills, man, had those running backs. But let's keep it moving. All right, so we had mentioned that we're gonna get into it, and I think somebody's vacuuming. Is somebody vacuuming? Do I hear a vacuum cleaner?
I think that's my dehumidifier that I should probably go turn off. I didn't know if you guys could hear it or not.
Kev over here with the background. Yeah, I can hear it, man. I can hear it.
I saw in the chat that we were good, so I didn't go fix it. I'll be right back.
No. I hear it now. All right. Yo, Kev off the rails, man. I could have sworn it was a vacuum. I was like, yo, is somebody vacuuming right now? Who in the world is I mean, it's Saturday morning, so I guess. I mean, it makes sense, you know. But yeah, that's a loud dehumidifier.
All
Kev,
right, we're good.
No, we're not good, baby. It's still on.
Oh no, that's not me then.
There it is.
That's not me then.
There it is. Hold on. What is that?
Hold on. Let me try something.
Hold on. Yo, it's Zach. Kev, it was not you. My bad. It was not. Was it a fan, Zach? Yeah. So he's got his.
Did that even make a difference when I turned that off?
No, it didn't. It was Zach. That's why.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yo, hey, this is we're live, baby. We're live, and this is how it goes down. Sometimes you get stuff that happens. It's all good. Zach. Oh, he's got his stuff still mic'd. I mean, still muted, but it's all right. So we've got some topics that we're going to discuss this morning in the show. We've got some training camp questions that we want to talk about, specifically as it relates to the Bills rookies. My man Lyestn Harris, he put out an article about training camp questions for the Bills rookies that we're going to talk about here today as well as is Gabe Davis going to have an all-pro season this year? Is Gabe Davis going to have an all-pro season this year? I don't know. We're going to find out a little bit later in the show. But my man Bryce Martino seems to think that it's possible for Gabe Davis this year. And then we're going to talk about some potentially overhyped Buffalo Bills players by my man Alex Spencer, who will be joining a little bit later as well. And then we're going to have a debate, man. We're going to have a fight. There's going to be a brawl, a BF Writers Club brawl is going to happen because I feel some type of way about an article that was posted by my man Alex Spencer a little bit, about overhyped Bills. And I think he was throwing a little bit of shade at somebody in particular, but we're not going to get into it right now. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. I'm gonna save my bullets for later on in the show. All right. But my man Lyestn Harris, in case you guys don't know, Lyestn Harris is a Buffalo Fanatics contributor, but he was supposed to join the show today, but he got busy. And so he wasn't able to join, but he did a pre-recorded video that we're going to show here in just a second. But, before we get into that, we've got a brand new member. Evan, do you see that? Go ahead and put my man Snook up in there. But my man Snook, if this was the Rico report and I had my bell, I would ring that bell, bing, bing, biggity, bing, like my man Rico does. Snook, Cartagena coming through here, new member. What's going on, Snook? Appreciate you so much for joining the Buffalo Fanatics. Welcome to the club, baby. Hope you guys have a fantastic show and then you enjoy the show, rather is what I'm trying to say here. But so Lyestn Harris, guys, he had and Zach, I'm gonna give it to you too because Lyestn, he had put out an article. I'm not too sure how long was that? A couple of weeks ago, I think, when he put this article out.
Yeah, it was like a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, about training camp questions for the Buffalo Bills rookies, though, And, it's a very good article. And this is what you guys need to do. You guys need to download the BF Network app. If you do not have that app, I don't know what you're waiting on. I mean, honestly, you need to go ahead and download that. It is a phenomenal app. You get everything that the Buffalo Fanatics have, from content, from articles, from all of our extraordinary contributors, and you get all the videos, you get merch, it's a matter of fact. Why am I talking about it? Just look at this.
Overdrive.
get that app. That app is dope, man. I can't even cap. Like that app is dope. So download the BF Network app. It's available like you said on the Google Play Store to the App Store, all that kind of stuff. Download that app. So Zach, I want you to kind of prime us a little bit here about lyestn's article about the questions for the Bills rookies here at training camp while I get ready to load his video, his pre-recorded video that he gave us to show all of the lovely fanatics out there.
So basically what he did in the piece was he went through each and every one of the Bills rookies and he just asked and discussed one question that he had or about them entering training camp or one thing that they may have to potentially prove during camp, because obviously we know that some players have higher expectations than others. Like James Cook will probably have a bigger role, but like, is there something about him that everyone needs to be asking or keeping an eye out for as he gets into camp? What about Terrell Bernard, who's likely to have a lesser role? But like, what exactly are the things that each of the rookies that the Bills selected in the draft going to have to show during camp?
Okay. So, yeah. So this is, I mean, like I said, with camp tomorrow, this is something that we definitely want to take a look at more in depth, right? With these rookies. I mean, first of all, Brandon Beane did a great job here in the draft, but there are some definite questions that I'm sure we have about these rookies that we want answered. And my man, lyestn, he goes on and he goes in depth and he talks about it. So I'm gonna do is I'm going to attempt, okay, guys, because last time I tried this, the audio wasn't working. So I don't know what's happening, but hopefully it's not gonna be messing with me this morning. I can't have it this morning. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pull him up and let's see here if I can get my man lyestn here. Let me know if you guys can you see him?
Yeah.
There he is. Here we go. Audio good?
Can't hear a thing.
Are you serious? You can't hear it?
Nope.
Oh boy. Look, I don't know what's going on, man. Every time I've tried to do this thing, I cannot get the audio to play to save my life. I don't know what's happening. lyestn, you just recorded a video for nothing, man, because it's just not working. I don't even want to spend any more time trying to figure this thing out and try to fix it. It's just not working. It's just not working.
Try one more time.
You want me to try one more time?
Yeah.
Golly, man. This is frustrating.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing, no.
I don't know why. I'm not a tech guy, so
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I can hear just perfectly, but it's not playing. And this is the second time this has done this. I have no idea. Yo, Heather, good morning. Good morning, Heather, all the way from Texas. I'm in Texas too. Good morning. Good morning. You guys, look, I get you, Amy. I know it. No sound. I don't know what's happening here. But that's why we need them on the air, on the show live, so we don't have to worry about this stuff. But let's just talk about it, okay? Let's just talk about it. All right. So he initially starts off with Kaiir Elam. If you look at the article, and guys, again, go to the BF, download the BF Network app, is where you can find all of this information here. But so he talks about Kaiir Elam, and he asks the question: is Kaiir Elam CB1 or CB2? Is he CB1 or CB2? Now he talks about him having some growing pains, right? Kaiir Elam going to have some growing pains as the Bills open up the season against the Rams. Okay, but Dane Jackson and Kaiir Elam are going to take the field in week 1. But the question is, though, and I guess for me, this is kind of how I would question it is when they start week 1, because we know Trey White is going to be out for a little bit. Is he the CB1? Is he going to be the main guy? Is when they face the Rams, is he going to be the one that's going to be lined up against Cooper Kupp, the reigning Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp, the 2021 Offensive Player of the Year Cooper Kupp? Can we trust the rookie to be the cornerback one to go up against that guy, or is he going to play second fiddle, as he said, to Dane Jackson, the more experienced vet? Kev, I want to go ahead and start it off with you. What do you think?
Well, I think the obvious answer is we have to wait and see what happens with Trey White. Now, everything that we've heard, they've said that he's progressing really well. He was here all summer. They saw him in the cafeteria. They saw him working out. He was rehabbing like crazy. But at the same time, you don't want to rush him back into it. And I'm pretty sure the Thigh Doctor came out with an article, was it a few months ago, saying that it might be a few more weeks. I don't know if you'd have to put him on the PUP list. I don't want to sound like I know when he's going to be back, but if he's back, first of all, you could look at that and say, oh, okay, Trey's CB1 and Kyer Elam is CB2. But again, you don't want to rush him back into it. And if you have to cover Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson, you don't want to re-tear that. You don't want to come back prematurely. Exactly. So then the other question is it Kyer Elam or Dane Jackson? Because that's not just given to Elam. They're going to have to battle it out in training camp. And Dane Jackson could still win that position. We all think it's Kyer Elam based on his physical traits, but we know how much the Bills like Dane Jackson. So really, it could be Trey CB1, Dane Jackson CB2, and Kyer Elam CB3.
Oh, man.
So I guess it all depends. If I were to guess, I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so here's a better question. Let's assume Trey is out for at least a couple of weeks of the season. All right, or they say they start him on the PUP list. Let's just assume that. Okay. So now you've got Dane Jackson and Kyer Elam, starting, right? But now as it pertains to these couple of matchups here, let's look to the first couple of games. All right, so the Rams, we got Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, and then the Titans, we've got Robert Woods and the rookie, I'm forgetting his name, Treylon Burks. Okay, so with those two matchups there, and let's just start with the Rams first of all. Where do you put Kyer Elam? Do you put him on Cooper Kupp, or do you put him on Allen Robinson?
Well, I guess going back to the first question, I think if Trey is out for the first few weeks, Kyer Elam will be CB1, just based on his physical traits. I mean, we saw last year in the playoffs how Dane Jackson and Levi Wallace could not cover Tyreek Hill, and not a lot of guys can. But you could see the difference in the physical traits between a wide receiver like Tyreek Hill and a cornerback like Dane Jackson. So without seeing training camp, without seeing any of their techniques or anything based on just their cornerback abilities, I'm going just based on the physical traits, and I think Kyer Elam will be CB1. And I'm not sure, but you would probably cover Cooper Kupp in that scenario, right? Because he's probably a little bit more athletically gifted than Allen Robinson. Nothing against Robinson, but based on the years that each of them had last year, I would probably put Kyer Elam on Cooper Kupp to start.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Zach, what about you?
I would say that personally, I think that Kyer Elam would be the best option based on his physical traits, his athleticism. But at the same time, we know that Sean McDermott usually likes to go with the more experienced guys at first and then ease the rookies in. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dane Jackson is the CB1 to start out, because obviously both guys are going to play anyways at the start. But then when Trey comes back, maybe it would be Elam anyways, because it'll probably be a couple of weeks on, and then he just slides right in.
Yeah, I seem to agree. I think you have to put the guy with the traits and the speed on the guy with traits and speed. You know what I'm saying? So like when you got Cooper Kupp, you've got to match him. I mean, you have to try your best to match him with a guy who's got the traits and the speed who can keep up with him. Dane Jackson, of course he's no slouch, right? But man, I don't know if I would trust Dane Jackson on Cooper Kupp more than I would Kyer Elam. But then at the end of the day, it's still a tough matchup regardless, right? Because you got Allen Robinson, who's a big guy, on the outside too. So it's going to be a tough matchup for both of the cornerbacks. But I would probably lean more towards putting Kyer Elam because he's more physical, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster. I would likely put him on Cooper Kupp. Yo, Deshaun Reinbelt capping, straight cap. Ain't no way Trey White is getting traded. No way. No way, fam. That is not happening in any universe, any multiverse. I don't care what it is. Trey White is not getting traded from the Buffalo Bills, and Jackson would never be able to up his level to make Trey White expendable. Okay, that's just not happening, man. I don't see it. No way. So, okay, Joe. Here we go. Joe Hayden could be a sneaky signing. He would be our CB1 until Trey is back. Oh man, that's a tough one, man. I'm not too sure about that. I mean, I like Joe Hayden from a just to add another veteran on the team, but I don't know if he has what it takes. You know what I'm saying? Like just from this stage of his career to actually outplay or outperform the likes of Dane Jackson or Kyrie Elam. Kev, I mean, what do you think about that, man? About Joe Hayden?
Well, before I get into Hayden, I just want to say, based on their heights, so Dane Jackson is listed at 5'11", Kyrie Elam is 6'2", Cooper Kupp is 6'2", Allen Robinson is 6'3". So that might be another factor that you want to look into. I mean, you're kind of at a deficit anyways because there's that 3-inch difference between Jackson and Elam can't cover both. So if, say, Allen Robinson was 5'11", it's like, oh, Dane Jackson, Allen Robinson, Cooper Kupp, and Kyrie Elam are both 6'2". There you go. I mean, obviously, there are a lot of other factors that go into who's going to cover who than just their heights. But that's just another small sample size that I wanted to bring to life here. But Joe Hayden, I've loved this idea for months now. I was hoping that the Bills were going to do it before the draft, actually, because I think that he would just be a solid veteran presence to bring to this cornerback room. And it'll never hurt to have too many corners on a team, right? Maybe, like they said on WGR, maybe too many young corners because you don't want to block anyone. But we know how much the Bills value that veteran presence. Going all the way back to when they signed EJ Gaines multiple times. They brought in Kevin Johnson, Josh Norman. There might be one other one that I'm forgetting. But they always like having that veteran presence in the cornerback room. And I could totally see them doing it again. I mean, Von Miller, Stephon Diggs, and Jordan Poyer have been recruiting him to Buffalo. Yeah. And I think if you want stability until Trey White is 100% healthy and 100% Trey White, you bring a guy like Joe Hayden in who can kind of help groom Kyrie Elam. Because let's face it, he could be great, but he's going to get beaten up in the first couple of weeks. I mean, when you're going up against Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, I'll even throw in Robert Woods and Treylon Burks just because those are going to be tough matchups. He's not going to play a perfect game. And you're going to need a veteran to at least be on the sideline to say, hey, pick your head up. There's still 3 quarters left in this game. Let's go. So I could totally see them going after Joe Hayden. And someone who I brought up a couple weeks ago that I don't think we should forget his name is Christian Benford. I know he's just a rookie too. But he's another guy with a lot of solid numbers that I'm definitely not going to go as far as saying he's going to make an impact in the first couple of weeks. But just don't forget the name.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, it's just gonna be a tough matchup, man. And until Trey gets back, it's gonna be tough. I definitely expect Kyrie Elam to take his lumps. And that's just gonna be part of it. I don't expect him to shut down anybody, to be honest. But when Trey comes back, he's gonna cover a multitude of sins, so to speak. But Alex Spencer, he comes in, and he says, and I agree with him. I mean, he says Taron Johnson would cover Kupp if he's coming out of the slot, and so yeah, he's definitely gonna do that. But man, that's gonna be a tough task for Taron Johnson too. It's gonna be. That's why this week 1 matchup is gonna be so incredibly hyped up, man, and just exciting because of those matchups right there. Kyrie Elam going against whoever, right? I mean, if it's Allen Robinson, bigger guy, or Cooper Kupp, a more shiftier guy, it's gonna be tough, regardless of who we play. And
that's a good point with Taron Johnson too, because I don't want to say we forget about Taron Johnson, but for me, whenever I think of the slot corner covering a slot receiver, I think of guys like Hunter Renfrow, Cole Beasley, Wes Welker. Obviously, we're out of the Wes Welker era, but just guys like that. But now you're starting to see them kind of revolutionize a position where bigger guys are playing the slot. I mean, I just came out with that article where I ranked the tight ends, and Mike Gesicki considers himself a big slot receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So even guys like that are coming out of the slot now. So yeah, Taron Johnson is definitely a factor in this, and it's definitely beneficial to have him kind of stabilize the position until Trey comes back.
Yeah, and you know what, Taron Johnson, he's bigger than I thought he was. I just looked it up. If I don't know for some reason why I thought he was like 5'9", dude, he's listed 5'11". So I mean, he and Dane, I mean, are essentially, like close to the same size. I thought he was a lot shorter than that. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, I like him too, and I think that could be an interesting matchup as well. I mean, you're going up against Cooper Kupp. It ain't gonna be easy. I don't care who you put on him. It's not gonna be easy at all. Not by a long shot. But I definitely like that. And so if all things considered, if we can assume that Trey White is going to be on the PUP list, let's just assume that. Okay, we're not predicting it at all, but let's just assume it. Then we have Kyer Elam and Dane Jackson going as the starters. But I would lean towards my man Kyer probably lining up against Cooper Kupp if he's not in the slot. If he's in the slot, there's going to be Taron Johnson, and then we'll go from there. But you had mentioned Joe Hayden. Well, like, what can you expect out of him? I mean, besides just a veteran presence, I mean, is he? I mean, can you expect him to be on the field? That's my question for you, because I mean, is he going to be like a Josh Norman type? You know what I'm saying, or what? Like, I don't know if he's actually going to be able to crack the lineup, ahead of Dane Jackson. Zach, what do you think, man? Because Kev brought up the idea about Joe Hayden, and Joe Hayden's name was brought up here in the chat too. And so if the Buffalo Bills decide to go after Joe Hayden and bring him on, just assuming there, I mean, what do you expect to get from Joe Hayden? And he's frozen again.
Rev,
go ahead, Kev.
For you. So I was looking at the Rams depth chart, and they have Cooper Kupp listed as a slot receiver, and then Allen Robinson and Van Jefferson on the outside. So Going with that, assuming Taron Johnson would cover Cooper Kupp, then what would you do? Would you put Elam on Allen Robinson or Van Jefferson? Because I would probably put
Elam. I think Elam probably on Jefferson with speed.
True. I was thinking put him on Allen Robinson, but I guess you could go either way. Let me check Van Jefferson's height.
Yeah, because
that matter.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Van Jefferson was a speed guy. He's 6'1".
Yep.
Yeah, so he's 6'1", 200. Let me see here. His speed. I'm not sure. It's not. Hold on. I can't find it here real quick. If anybody knows, go ahead and throw that here in the comment section, because I'm trying to see what his 40 time was. Cause I could have sworn he had a fast 40 time coming out of college. Let me see here. Van Jefferson. Right.
Helps.
Okay. No. Let me see. I'm not too sure. I mean,
sorry. I just found a tweet. It said Van Jefferson could not run the 40 at the combine due to a foot injury.
Oh, okay.
But at Zebra Technology had him as the fastest player at the Senior Bowl with max speed of 21.05 miles per hour, which is faster than Devin Duvernay, Denzel Mims, and Antonio Gibson.
Wow. So I knew coming out he was labeled as a fast guy. So if you're talking if we're talking about speed here, I mean, for me, I would have to put Kyer Elam on there, because I can't have Dane Jackson getting burnt like that. Kyer Elam, at least we know he has the speed to cover. But Allen Robinson, man, I think he's gonna cook. I think he's gonna cook Dane Jackson. Just to be honest, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. Rams got Allen Robinson also gonna be. Yeah. I mean, they are. I mean, Allen Robinson is a dog, man. He's a dog. That matchup is going to be tough. And I saw somebody here in the chat. They had talked about the zone, and I want to see if I could find it back. Evan, I don't know if you can find it. May have to scroll up here. Somebody had mentioned the zone coverage and about what Sean McDermott is going to have to do. Let me see here. Where is it at? Where's it at? Because I definitely think here, is Zach back? Okay, no, he's not back yet. I definitely think that we're going to have to rely on some zone coverage, man. Just because of that matchup, man. Because we don't want these guys to get burnt, and it's going to be tough. There it is. Thanks, Evan. Yeah, Johnny Blaze says, McDermott's going to rely heavy on that zone. He's going to match up his young corners man-to-man against no, he's not. He's not going to match up his young corners man-to-man against the Rams wide receivers. And I would tend to agree on that. I think this particular matchup is where it's going to be about. It's all about. It's gonna rely on the whole, right? Not just the corners, but the entire secondary and the defense playing exceptionally well together to limit these Rams wide receivers. Because without Trey White, with Trey White, it would have been tough. But without him, it's going to be tough. It's going to be even tougher. So yeah, and then Jessica comes in. It will be zone. No doubt. Okay, so now moving on into Yeson's article. So now he goes on and he talks about James Cook. And he asks the question about James Cook. He says, is James Cook actually a running back? Is James Cook actually a running back? Now, obviously, the answer is yes. But I think what he's getting at is his usage in the offense. He's got the speed and the athleticism, and has been referred to as a receiver coming out of the slot. We know that he played a lot of that kind of that I wouldn't necessarily call it a slot role, but coming out of Georgia, but he was known for his receiving chops coming out of college, and he could actually play that here in the offense with the Bills. So where do you guys see James Cook? Or what do you think? How do you think? I should ask. How do you think the Bills will utilize James Cook in the offense, considering that Motor Singletary is going to get the bulk of the carries? Kev, I'm gonna start with you.
Real quick, I just want to go back to the last topic because I see some people talking in the chat. Let's not forget, not that we are forgetting, but the Bills have Von Miller now and a really good defensive line. And that's going to help the back end of our defense that much more, because last year, quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes could kind of tee off on the Bills because the pass rush could not get home. But now if you have a guy like Von Miller, and even if you want to throw guys in like Daquan Jones, Tim Settle, Shaq Lawson on the outside, Jordan Phillips, we might be able to get more sacks, which means that the cornerbacks aren't going to have to hold their ground as long as they had to last year. So
yeah. If we get that pressure, then no doubt. I agree.
And then,
where do you see? How do you see us using James Cook?
And then with James Cook, this is another guy that I was all over for months, and I love that the Bills drafted him. I was actually at the Sabres game. It was Rick Jeanneret's final call, and I was just waiting on the Bills to make the pick. And right as the Sabres tied the game, I saw that the Bills drafted James Cook, and I was up in the upper deck. And a few of us that were on our phones just started freaking out. And I had him as a third-round pick, but the Bills took him in the second round. So that shows that they value him. And I think he's going to be a crucial part of this offense. Now, I've heard that he's been lining up in the slot. And I can totally see them do that. But let's not forget how crowded the slot receiver is.
Yeah, it's going to be crowded.
No pun intended with Jamison Crowder.
Yeah.
But there are a ton of guys in the slot receiver position right now. So really, I see the Bills using James Cook kind of like that Kareem Hunt. Just like the 1-2 punch. Like Nick Chubb is a 1, Kareem Hunt is a 2. Devin Singletary is a 1, James Cook is a 2. And I'm not saying Devin Singletary is as good as Nick Chubb, but I could totally see the Bills utilizing the screen game again, kind of like what they used to do with Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller.
Right.
Where Spiller had that home run threat, the speed, he could burst through a hole. And I think that's what James Cook is going to be, where if Allen doesn't find anything down the field, he doesn't have to use his legs and put his body at risk or potentially throw an interception. He can say, oh, I have a check down option here with James Cook. Perfect. Let's go get 7 yards.
100%. 100%. I love that comparison, that Fred Jackson and CJ Spiller comparison. Man, that may be a thing. Now that you said that, because that was a pretty good 1-2 tandem, and we loved how Spiller had that home run ability, and James Cook definitely has that. I mean, you give him. I mean, just get him the ball in space, right? In the screen game, how much have we missed that part of the offense, right? A legit screen game, man, with a guy who can break it the distance, who could take it the distance in James Cook. And I even like it. Even if we line him up out, in the backfield, and then we split him out wide. We bring him out there in motion, and then we have all these wide receivers out there with James Cook also as another option. Good luck defense, right? Good luck. Pick your poison right there, right? Trying to figure out who you're going to match up with, because James Cook out of the backfield like that, lined up in tight bunch formation in the slot or whatever the case may be, it's going to be deadly. Needless to say, the Buffalo Bills have a ton of options and a ton of weapons, which is exactly why this training camp is so important, right? And not only is it important for the rookies, but it's also important for a lot of the veterans who are on this team, and a lot of guys that maybe we're not thinking about, or maybe that we are thinking about going into this year. Guys who are expected to have a good season. And so as we look now, Kev, as we look now, and we get ready to bring Zach back in the show, as he gets his things worked out. Looking ahead into training camp tomorrow, like who are you looking forward to seeing at camp?
Well, it's probably the two guys that we've been talking about right along here, James Cook and Kyer Elam. Not to steal what they were talking about on WGR yesterday, but I overheard them saying how it's not as fun to watch the cornerbacks because there's not as much going on there. Like, yeah, you can watch their technique and say, oh, he looks pretty good. But someone like James Cook is going to be that electrifying figure, right? You would hope, where he's going to have the ball in his hands and it's going to be like, wow, he's got some speed. He's got some burst. He has pass catching abilities. And without actually being at training camp, I'm looking forward to seeing some tweets with James Cook just doing his thing.
Yeah. James Cook is definitely a guy that I'm looking forward to seeing. No doubt. Another guy that I'm looking forward to seeing is Gabe Davis. I am looking forward to seeing Gabe Davis, man. Look, I can't get enough of Gabe, man. I love Gabe. I love me some Gabe Davis. Like, this dude, like he had it, like his first couple of years, right, with the Bills have been pretty good, considering his usage, right? But man, when I look at what Gabe Davis can possibly do this year now, I just get this huge grin on my face, man, because I'm just like licking my chops, knowing that he's finally going to be able to have the opportunity to get more targets in his offense. I mean, when you look at what he is able to do as a rookie, right? He only had 35 receptions with 62 targets, but the dude had about 600 yards receiving and averaged 17 yards per reception. 17 yards per reception with 7 touchdowns. And that was like the 3 or the 4, because he was behind Cole Beasley, he was behind John Brown, and then Diggs, right? And then you add in the following year, which was last year, you get rid of Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, you get rid of John Brown, but now then you insert Emmanuel Sanders, and he's still playing second fiddle or third fiddle behind them, and he still had 550 yards receiving on 63 targets, 35 receptions, and 6 touchdowns. But what I love about Gabe Davis, though, is his yards per reception. He is averaging, in 2 years, averages 16, almost 16 and a half yards per reception. This guy is a sneaky good deep threat for the Bills, number one. Number two, he has the ability to be a possession receiver for Josh Allen as well, especially on the outside. He's a touchdown guy, okay? But then this year in the offseason, we all know it's been reported he has bulked up. He has added weight to his frame. I think they said he's up to like almost 230 or 227, somewhere in that 225 to 230 range at 6'2", 6'3", running a 4.5 40. Like, the guy is priming himself to have a phenomenal year. A phenomenal year. And somebody else who thinks that Gabe could potentially have a great year is Bryce Martino. Bryce Martino, a Buffalo Fanatics contributor, put out an article asking a question, man. And this question, I think the question that he used to title this article, man, is gonna get some people fired up. He asked this question, and I'm gonna bring him on because I want him to explain himself. He asked the question: will Gabe Davis have an all-pro season? Will Gabe Davis have an all-pro season? So he's sitting here in the background. I'm gonna bring him in right now because he has to explain himself. So you guys, everybody who's watching, all the fanatics who are watching, whether you're watching live on YouTube or you're watching live on Facebook or Twitter, yo, do me a favor and welcome my man Bryce Martino to the show. What's good, Bryce? How you doing, baby?
What's going on? Good to be here.
Man, glad to have you back again on the show, man. Bryce, you started a fight, right? You started a war, right? I think
what I do best.
I think me, I already kind of stepped out there when I said what I said about Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, that I believe that both of them are going to have 1,000-yard receiving yards this year. But man, you took it another level. You took it another level by asking the question, will he have an all-pro season? So I'm gonna give it to you. You have the floor. Explain yourself, Bryce.
I mean, the last 2 years since he's been in the league, he's put up really good numbers behind John Brown and Emmanuel Sanders. Last year, he had 549 yards, 6 TDs on only 35 receptions, and that's behind Emmanuel Sanders for most of the season. Now, taking it back to the Chiefs game in the playoffs, we saw the type of production that he could put up when he had 204 TDs. Now, with a bigger sample size, I'm trying to say,
right,
he should be able to put up at least 900 yards and 8 or 9 touchdowns. I don't think that's far-fetched with the type of production we've seen from him in such a small sample size since he's been in the league. Okay,
so now you had said something else in your article too. You had given credit to PFF Buffalo Bills who had talked about the wide receivers with the most receiving touchdowns on intermediate passes last season. Gabe Davis is number 3. Gabe Davis is number 3, behind Steph Diggs, who happens to be number 1 with 7, tied with Cooper Kupp at 7, and then Gabe Davis 6, DK Metcalf 6 as well. So Gabe Davis, as I had mentioned, I mean, he's a touchdown guy. He's a touchdown king, touchdown, whatever you want to call it. But on intermediate passes last season, what makes you so sure that Gabe Davis is going to have this type of a season?
I think he's earned Josh Allen's trust throughout his career. And I think that could only improve as time goes on, especially now since he's getting to be the wide receiver 2, going to get more snaps and more looks from Josh Allen. I think he can, shock some people in the Bills community and across the league.
Okay, so now I would agree that Gabe Davis is priming himself for a very good season. But now, how many receiving yards are you projecting him to have?
I want to say about 950.
About 950. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit higher than that, possibly.
Okay. And 950. Now you had all right. So you said that stat projection about 87 catches. Okay. 900 yards or so and 9 touchdowns. My question is, does that stat line equal an all-pro season? Like what does an all-pro season look like for a wide receiver?
I think it could, because let me pull up Cole Beasley's stats from a couple years ago.
Okay. Yeah, because man, look, I can already see. Say it again.
Okay.
Say it again, Bryce. You cut out.
Cole Beasley had 900. Can you hear me now?
All right, yeah, you good. Cole Beasley had 900 yards.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right, yeah.
you good.
Yeah, 967 yards and 4 TDs 2 years ago. And he was, what, second team All Pro, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So if he can
now,
put up those numbers with a little bit more TDs, he should be able to get at least, second team.
Okay. So now I've got Zach back in here. I think he's I think he was over there working with his dynasty draft. No, I'm just kidding, Zach. I'm just kidding. So we got Bryce on here, Zach, and he's talking about Gabe Davis having an All-Pro season. He gives a stat projection of roughly 900 yards, give or take, maybe 950 the max on 87 catches with about 9 touchdowns. My question to him was, is that considered an All-Pro season? So I want to toss it to you, Zach, because I want to hear your thoughts on it. First of all, do you think it's possible for Gabe Davis to have that type of a season? Secondly, what type of statistical output would he need to have in order for him to have an All-Pro season?
Well, theoretically, any player could have an All-Pro season, but I think it would be more likely he'd be an All-Pro on now both of my dynasty leagues, because I was able to scoop him up in
there you go.
I think it was round 8. So
round 8, wow.
He's my third or fourth receiver. I got Brandon Cooks, Hunter Renfrow, and T. Higgins. So
okay,
trying to go
not
for
too
that.
bad.
But in terms of statistical output, the projection Bryce gave would not be an All-Pro season. Like All-Pros usually, you would have to think like Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams, that type of season. Like probably would have to be at least like 1,500 yards, double-digit touchdowns. I think he could get double-digit touchdowns. I don't know if he'll get 1,500 yards.
But now Bryce said he had a good point. He had mentioned second team All-Pro, which is still considered All-Pro. And he had listed I think Cole Beasley. Did Cole Beasley was he second team All-Pro? Is that right? He was?
Yeah,
okay.
So.
Okay. Man, what was that stat projection, Kev? Do you remember it?
You're talking about Beasley's?
Yeah, Beasley's. Yeah. For second team All-Pro. Because see, when you say All-Pro, I'm picking first team All-Pro. So second team, okay, it takes him down a notch, right? So technically, it's still considered All-Pro. But that year when Beasley was second team All-Pro, his numbers were what, 900 something yards receiving?
Yeah, he had 82 catches on 107 targets for 967 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Okay.
So I think, going off of what Bryce said, if Davis puts those numbers up, he will not come close to an All-Pro. And I think the reason Beasley got it was because he was a specified position. Like that was his role as a slot receiver. And he did really well. Like he was Allen's security blanket. I think if you're an outside receiver, if you're a number 2 receiver on a team, you have to at least put up 1,000 yards and probably 7 or 8 touchdowns. I could totally see Davis going for 1,000 yards to maybe 1,200 yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns. I saw someone in the comments had like the same projection. I think his name was Johnny, if you want to pull that up.
Okay.
Yeah. He said 1,000 to 1,100 yards and 8 to 10 touchdowns for Davis. That's right there. I could totally see that from him.
Yeah.
And that would probably garner more of a second team All-Pro just based on the amount of talent there is at wide receiver position. And because Davis is an outside number 2 option and he's not in that specific role like Beasley was.
Okay. Yeah. And so see, that's what I'm thinking. I think Gabe is definitely gonna. I think he can reach the 1,000-yard mark this year. Anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 yards. Give or take. Probably along the 1,000 to 1,100 yard mark is what I'm thinking. Double-digit touchdowns. I think he can get 10. I think he could definitely get it. So now if he gets that, that's like you said. That's going to garner the attention needed to give him that All-Pro nod. If anything, just a second team All-Pro. But my question though, my follow-up question to that though would be, if Gabe can have that stat line. So let's just say, Bryce, that he supersedes that stat line that you gave about 900 yards. Let's just say he gets to 1,000 to 1,100 yards receiving this year. Let's say he gets 10 touchdowns. All right. About 90 receptions, anywhere between there. Is he outshining or outperforming Stephon Diggs?
I don't think he has to, or he would outshine Diggs, because if you look last year, you know how much Josh Allen shared the rock with Gabe, with Knox, Emmanuel Sanders, Beasley, and then you had Diggs, who still put up, was it 1,000 yards and 8 or 9 touchdowns? If he can get those, you know, Gabe Davis and Diggs going with 1,000 yards each, I think that's pretty doable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm looking at Diggs. Yeah, last year. Okay, so last year, yeah, he had 1,200 yards. He had 1,200 yards, 1,225 yards on 103 receptions with 10 touchdowns. You see, now that's kind of like. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and that's with Dawson Knox and all those guys, you know, getting their fair share of touches.
Mm-hmm. So somebody, I mean, so if Gabe is gonna increase, right, somebody's gonna have to decrease, right? Like the touches, the targets, you know, the target share is gonna have to be divided. I mean, divvied up somewhere, and Gabe is gonna have to be stealing it from, I guess, you know, the likes of Cole Beasley's numbers, because I don't necessarily think that Jamison Crowder is gonna come in here and eat up a whole bunch of targets, in his first year with the Bills. I don't think Isaiah McKenzie either. You know, that they're gonna be sharing a role. I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but he. You know, so then it just leaves with him, and then Dawson Knox, but then you also have OJ Howard, who I think, you know, we just haven't really mentioned. There's going to be a lot of mouths to feed, needless to say, this year. But I think that though that Ken Dorsey is going to figure out a way to get these guys the ball. But I love the idea of Gabe Davis getting an increase in targets, because I think he's proven it, like you had mentioned it. He definitely has proven it. But you know what? Not everybody, though, Bryce, as we're an hour into the show, and thanks for everybody who's been watching us, who's been rocking with us right now. Do me this favor: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turn the bell notifications on. All right. But yo, Bryce, not everybody agrees, though. Not everybody agrees with your take about Gabe Davis. You know, granted, I mean, we got people here. I saw somebody in the chat talking about all pro. They said all pro blank. No, you know what I'm saying? So, but there's somebody a little closer to home though, that tends to disagree.
Hey, Rev, real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry. Before we get into this, I just want to say one last thing about Davis. Don't forget last year, he was kind of buried on the bench, and he never really got going until I think it was that Jets game, where, remember, we were sitting there like, where's Gabe Davis? He had a great rookie year, and we thought he was going to have his coming out party last year. And it really wasn't until the last, 6 or 7 games last year where Davis really got going. So when we're talking about targets and how they're going to divide it up, it's almost like they're going to have to double the amount of targets and receptions that Davis was seeing, because last year, like I said, he put up almost identical numbers to what he put up his rookie year.
Yeah.
In 2020, he had 35 receptions on 62 targets for 599 yards and 7 touchdowns. Last year, he had 35 receptions on 63 targets for 549 yards and 6 touchdowns. And that was mainly in the back half of the year. So when we're talking about how they're going to divvy up the targets from Allen, like I said, I need to at least see the receptions doubled from Gabe Davis.
The receptions are going to have to double if he's going to hit that mark. If he's going to hit that mark, it has to happen. And I think it's possible. I think it's possible, because he hasn't had that target share. He just hasn't had that volume targets. But I think he's definitely going to get it, or at least get close to it this year, no doubt. But not everybody agrees with us, though, man. Not everybody agrees with us. Sometimes, you know, they think we're capping. You know, but there's somebody else who thinks we capping, and I'm gonna bring him on the show because he put out an article, man, and Bryce, you stay with us, okay? Don't you go nowhere. So he put out an article.
Yeah, I'm staying here.
Oh, okay. Oh man, he said that. He said it like, I ain't going nowhere, fam. I ain't going nowhere. You hear that? You hear that? So
stand my ground.
So he put out an article talking about overhyped Bills players. Which Bills players are being overhyped? And so I'm going to let him talk about this here real quickly about the Bills players who he thinks are overhyped. And then we're going to, there is one particular player that he definitely thinks was overhyped, and we're gonna let him have it. So without any further ado, Buffalo Fanatics, Bills Mafia, you guys do me this favor. Welcome to the show, my man, Alex Spencer.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Man, what's happening, Alex? Yo, man, it's good to finally get you on, man. It's good to finally meet you for the first time.
Nice to meet you too, Rev.
Man, how you doing, baby? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. For those of you who don't know who Alex is, Alex Spencer is another BF contributor, and he puts out a lot of good content as well. Where you can find it if you download the BF Network app. Go ahead and download that. And he put out an article called "Which Bills Players Are Being Overhyped." Which Bills players are being overhyped? First of all, man, Alex, why you got to do that, man? Why you got to talk about Bills players being overhyped? I mean, we're all about the Buffalo Bills, man. We drink the Kool-Aid, we drink the processed juice, right? You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as Bills players being overhyped. What are you talking about here?
Well, so when I choose to consume Bills content, I like to be objective because
there's no such thing as objectivity when you're a Bills fan, Alex. Come on, what's wrong with you? Don't you know that? That's the code.
You know what? You're right, Ref. I take back everything I said. But I think it's important to kind of ease ourselves here because, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying about Davis. For the first 2 seasons, his target share was pretty low, but he still produced decent numbers considering what he was given. Mm-hmm. But I think to go as far as to say in his third year he's going to have an all-pro season is a little ridiculous because, like, yes, I am, Jason.
Yo, Adam put it on there, man. He said, yo, is Alex using the OJ Chase as his background?
I thought about throwing the OJ jersey on too, but
that would have been good though, man. You should have done that.
I can go put it on in a sec, but
that was cool. All right, go ahead.
But back to what I was saying. So I think it's important to kind of balance believing somebody can produce better numbers than what they did, because I think Davis will have a statistical increase in what he had from last year. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a lot of gray area between that and jumping to him being an all-pro receiver.
Okay. Well, hold on. Before you jump into Davis, because we're gonna save that. We're gonna save Davis. We're gonna save that right there. Bryce is getting ready, so we're gonna put the Gabe Davis talk here just on the back burner just for now. But I want you to get into some of the players, not named Gabe Davis here, who you mentioned specifically in your article that you think are being over. Come on, man, like, bruh. All right, so you talked about Bills players being overhyped, and you just went for the jugular. So you hit him. You hit number one. You said Devin Singletary. Go ahead and talk about that, man.
All right. Well, the origins of me wanting to write that came from Pierre's tweet.
Yeah.
And it was not necessarily the tweet itself, because I can disagree with one person's opinion, but all the responses, I was like, he's top 7, he's top 10. I was like, no, he's not. Like, it's like we need to be real here. Like, what has he done to show that he's a top, even like 15 running back in this league?
Oh man,
like that's a genuine question.
Yeah.
Like if you look at his numbers, they're average at best. I understand the offensive line has not been great. That is completely true. However, I think he's had a lot of opportunity given the build of this offense to have some success.
So here's the tweet. Here's the tweet that he put up right there. You see that? And you can see my response. All right, so here's the tweet. So he says, "Yo, Devin Singletary is not a top 5 running back in the NFL, but I strongly feel the debate starts around 9 to 10." And you see me putting it here right, like I'm like, I don't know about that, baby. Bobby Ray Thompson. Yo, so needless to say, Pierre started some fire. He started some fire, and so yeah, go ahead, Alex. My bad. Go ahead.
Because, like, honestly, he's had a lot of opportunity. Not every game he wouldn't get a lot of carries, but the looks that defenses are giving you, they're inviting the run. Just the nature of having Josh Allen at quarterback, they want you to run the ball because you're taking the ball out of Josh's hands. And So when you look at, if you want to compare his numbers to somebody who is like a true like bell cow running back in this league on a good run team, it's almost apples to oranges because of what they're running against is two completely different defenses.
Well, yeah, right.
So you have McKenzie I just read McKenzie's name in chat. If you have Motor getting up 850 yards or whatever against four players in a box versus Derrick Henry with 1,000,000 yards, but he's running against 8 players in the box. It's completely
he's
different.
running against the whole team in the box. They got 11.
Yeah. And obviously Derrick Henry's a premier back in the league. That's not where the comparison starts. But I think we need to kind of ease back because he had a great like 4 games to end the season. But I believe in sample size, and throughout 4 years of his career, what has he done besides that 4-game stretch?
Yeah. This is where I agree with you. I agree that Motor is not. He's not a top 10 back. He's just not.
No.
He's, for one, like you mentioned, he's not your true RB1. He's RB1 on our team, right? But he's not the bell cow back, and there's only a handful of those guys in the league right now. But he's not that type of a back. But you know what I liked about Motor last year is how close he got to kissing 1,000 yards rushing, considering how just atrocious the offensive line play was last year until about the tail end of the season when he started to pick it up, and then Brian Dable started to give him more carries once the offensive line got solidified with inserting Bates into the offensive line there. So 870, 860, something like that yards rushing on a season like that, wasn't too bad, all things being considered, right? But that still, in my opinion, does not constitute him being like a top 10 running back. Even if they give him the ball more earlier in the season, and Motor has himself finally a breakout year and rushes for 1,000 yards this year, which I predict is going to happen. I think he has the ability or the opportunity this year to rush for 1,000 yards. I'm still not putting him in the top 10 just for this reason that you had mentioned, Alex, because he's not going against loaded boxes. He's not. So he's taking advantage of an offense led by Josh Allen, where defenses are like, yo, look, we're not really afraid of the running game, but we're stopping Josh Allen, right? And so we're inviting you to run the ball. Well, you should be able to run the ball against light boxes, right? So he should be able to take advantage of that. But if you're talking about a top 10 back, to me, I have to look at the offense that they're in, right? Is it a running offense? And looking at the type of defenses that they're running up against, like the boxes, are they loading the boxes? You talk about like Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, like guys like that. And so that's where I would pump the brakes about Motor Singletary. Now, Kev, I think he had put out. Didn't you write an article about top backs in the NFL? Here pretty recently. Where was Motor on that list?
He actually didn't get ranked.
Because it was top 10, right?
Yeah, I did top 10.
Ranked, yeah.
And then just in my head, I did 10 through 20. I just kind of crafted out the list just on my notes on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
But Motor really didn't even crack that. I mean, I had him in like the upper teens, lower 20 range. So going based on that, let's just say we'll take the average and say he's 20th best. So I think if you try to make the case that he sneaks into the top 10, I would say that's overhyped. But if you have him realistically saying, based on what he's done and what we know about him, yeah, he could be a top 20 running back, then I think that's not overhyped, maybe even underhyped. I think the Bills see him maybe somewhere right in the middle, maybe 15, where that's why they got James Cook to kind of balance it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess to kind of answer the question and going based on Alex's article here, I would say if you're going based on Pierre's numbers, then I would say he's being overhyped. Yeah. But if you're going based on what I think the Bills are doing and how they're going to use him, then I don't think there's any hype at all. I think he's right in the middle where he should be. Yeah.
That's where I think. Bryce, what do you think Motor should be ranked? Within the NFL.
I'd say I would have him in the top 17 range, like kind of that average to below average running back.
Okay. Yeah, I see him in the 20s, man. Pierre was straight capping, man. I don't know what Pierre was thinking. I don't know.
It's that time of the off season. Gotta talk about something.
Yeah,
fair,
yeah.
But if
man.
you want,
yeah.
If you want my honest opinion, I think like the argument for him like not getting touches in the earlier on in the season and not getting going, and I think this might serve as a segue into Gabe Davis.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't earn those touches. Why would we keep running the ball if he's getting 1 yard every carry? You're wasting your time. Devin Singletary. But also the target share for Davis, he was beaten out by Sanders. Sanders was the better wide receiver before he got hurt last year.
Hold on, I'm not gonna let you talk about Motor like that, bro. We gotta go back. We gotta go back. You said he's averaging 1 yard a carry. Devin Singletary last year
early
in the year, right?
Yeah, so like in the early games when he's starting off a game with 3 carries for 2 yards, why would you keep running the ball?
What is that Motor or is that the offensive line?
It could be both, but it doesn't matter. It's not effective.
But it's not effective. So there's no need to give him more carries because it's not him. It's the offensive line was garbage. The offensive line was absolute garbage.
Both are at fault.
Yeah, right. Well, how much can you fault Motor Singletary running behind a garbage offensive line? You know what I'm saying? When he as soon as he gets the ball in his hands, he's having to evade defenders as soon as he gets the ball. Like I don't necessarily put that on Motor. I put that on the offensive line. Now later in the season, when they finally got the O-line solidified, what happened? And they gave them the ball. All of a sudden, running lanes are open. He was able to produce more. So I think when you look at the improvement along the offensive line, with the insert with Brian Bass coming on there, and then you look at the carries that Motor got in the end of the year, it showed you that the offensive line was the issue. The offensive line finally being solidified and getting a lot better paved the way for Motor to actually have a much better season than he was having in the beginning of the year. Now, I'm not still saying that Motor Singletary is his top back. I don't think that at all. But I think he's a serviceable back in our offense. And he will never be a top 10 back as long as he's with the Buffalo Bills, because going forward, I don't see the Bills bringing him back. I just don't see that happening. Maybe if he goes on to another team and then it's a run-heavy team, I'm not too sure what that'll look like. But for what Motor has been tasked to do within this offense, he has been serviceable. He has done an admirable job. Rookie year, 775 yards, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. 2020. He had 687 yards, averaging just under 4.5 yards per carry. This year, 870 yards, averaging 4.6 yards per carry with 7 touchdowns. So considering the workload that he's been tasked with, he has done a pretty good job, in my opinion. Would you disagree with that, Alex?
I think he's been fine. I think that's the exact word I used to describe him in the article. He's fine.
Yeah.
But anywhere over like 20, like in terms of like totality ranking, is a little much. So that's where the overhyped came from. It was mainly Pierre's the ranking and the responses to the tweet. Yeah. The ranking. Yeah. I get that. I definitely get that. I understand.
Because I got a question for you guys.
Yeah, go ahead, Kev.
So based on my running back list here, if we were to make a case for him to be a top 10 running back, where would you fit him in here? So number one, if you haven't read the article yet, I mean, I'll just go over it real quick. Still appreciate, if you want to go back and read why I chose to rank him here. But number one, I have Jonathan Taylor. Number 2, Derrick Henry. 3, Nick Chubb. 4, Dalvin Cook. 5, Joe Mixon. 6, Alvin Kamara. 7, Zeke. 8, Aaron Jones. 9, Austin Eckler. 10, Najee Harris. And then I use Christian McCaffrey as an honorable mention just because I don't know where he is health-wise right now. So I thought it'd be unfair to rank him. So if you were to make a case that he is 7, 8, 9, where would you fit him in? Because I don't see him better than any of those guys.
No, he's not.
I'm not putting him there at all.
He's not. Nowhere
Especially
close.
with McCaffrey at 11. That's
like nowhere close. Like he doesn't crack it. He doesn't crack the top 10. To me, he doesn't even crack top 15. Like we can keep on going down the list, and I don't see him in there.
I mean, after 10 and 11,
you have him better than 11.
Well, I was going to say, after 11, you have guys like Antonio Gibson, Leonard Fournette, Tony Pollard. I'm just looking at another list. This isn't mine. Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, Saquon Barkley, James Robinson, James Conner, J.K. Dobbins when he's healthy, Josh Jacobs, Melvin Gordon, Damian Harris. So again, that's not ranked in any specific order, but even guys like David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, you can make a case that Motor isn't even better than the top 20. I think he's definitely top 25, but how high do you want to put him? Can he sneak into the top 20, top 17? Maybe. Like I said, I have him right around like the upper teens, lower 20s range.
If you do put him in the top 20, though, who are you going to take out? Because, like you said, everyone in that top 20 is a lot better than Singletary is.
Yeah.
It is, man. But you know what? The good news about all this about the running backs is that it doesn't take an elite back to win a Super Bowl. It doesn't take an elite back to win a Super Bowl. And somebody in here put it in the chat, and I'm trying to find it. Dadgummit, where did it go? But I think it was by John. I'm not too sure. John, yeah, there we go. Here it is. There it is, Johnny. Johnny's been coming through. Yo, in the past 20 years, look at the past Super Bowl champions and name a workhorse back that's won a ring. I'll wait. Exactly. I mean, so we're not expecting the offense to change and Motor to be this workhorse back in our offense. We don't need that. We need to relieve some pressure off of Josh Allen, right? I don't want to see Josh running for 760 yards or something like however much he got. Like, I don't want to see that happen. It's good that he can do it, but man, I don't want him to run the risk of getting injured because if he gets injured, you guys forget it. Just forget about it, right? So we have to allow Josh Allen to rely on guys who get paid to run the ball. Now, if you talk about, 3rd and 1, 4th and 2, whatever, goal line situation, give it to Josh, right? But when you talk about just generally running the ball, design runs it like Dabo was just infatuated with last year, I don't want to see that happening. Hand the ball off to Motor, hand the ball off to James Cook, Zach Moss, whatever, and let's just keep it moving. I don't need our running game to be elite, but I do need it to be more efficient than it was last year. And I think it definitely can when you mix in a little bit more balance and we get that offensive line solidified with guys like Roger Saffold. And in addition to Ryan Bates, who actually saved our season. You're absolutely correct. And I put that up there. Did y'all see that? He freaking saved the season. Johnny Blaze, man. He did. He really did. He did, man. I mean, I don't know anybody who can argue against that, man. He saved our entire season. That was so bad, and the schedule was weak.
McDermott was really trying to keep him on the bench. I don't know why.
I don't know, man. McDermott was capping. See, you're gonna get me on a tangent, man. I don't know what McDermott is thinking when he does these types of things. Bates was the better guard. He's a better lineman. He loves Bob Bacher. He loved him, right? But man, when you have a guy like Bates, dude, like what are you doing? Put him in. If he would have put him in the lineup early in the season, we didn't even be worrying about this stuff, man. But see, it's that kind of stuff that McDermott be doing, man. That kind of, I don't know. Hopefully, Aaron Cromer is going to run the show when it comes to the offensive line. Hopefully, Cromer's like, yo, get your hands off the O line. This is mine. Let me handle it. You go ahead and keep on clapping. Let me handle the O line.
Also, maybe it could have been Bobby Johnson. We never know. Yeah,
it could have been Bobby Johnson. I'm not too sure how much. I don't know, man, because there's some tinkering going on, man, especially with Cody Ford. But I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not going to get. I don't want to get into all that. So the number 2 guy on your list that you had listed, Alex, as being overhyped is Gabe Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Davis.
What a shame.
Okay. So this right now, guys, chat. This is what we've been waiting on. This is the climax. This is the climax of the show, man, because Bryce, on one hand, Bryce is saying, yo, Gabe Davis is going to have an all-pro season. All-pro season. If you got me talking about, I think Gabe Davis is going to have 1,000 yards receiving along with Steph Diggs. And then you got Alex talking about, pump the brakes, Gabe Davis is overhyped. So this is what we're about to get into right now. That
was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Well, you like it? You like that? Yo, man. So we've got a Gabe Davis debate pumping off right now. It's my man Bryce Martino versus Alex Spencer. Who's gonna win the debate? Is it gonna be Bryce, who thinks that Gabe Davis is gonna have an all-pro year, or is it gonna be the rookie the rookie to the show, Alex Spencer, who thinks that everybody is capping Gabe Davis is being overhyped. Alex, you are the challenger. You are coming in right now. You put it out in the article. You said Gabe Davis is being overhyped. I'm going to give you the floor right now. I'm going to solo you up, baby. You're going solo dolo. You got the whole stream. You got you got everybody. The Fanatics are watching you. Why do you think Gabe Davis is being overhyped?
Okay, well, I think Gabe Davis is simply being overhyped because when we last saw him, he was setting records in the playoffs against the Chiefs, and that was a phenomenal game. I'm not taking anything away from him, but sample size is important. For one, his rookie year, he had a good rookie season. I didn't expect much out of him his rookie year because I don't expect much out of rookies, and he did fine. His second year, he could not beat out Emmanuel Sanders, who was the better wide receiver for the first majority of the season until he got hurt. When he started getting more touches later on in the season, he did fine. He put up decent numbers. This is the first year where he's not getting that roadblock in front of him. He is the true wide receiver number 2, and I expect he will have a large statistical increase from his other 2 seasons. But like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of variance in that between, okay, he is now wide receiver number 2. He's going to have a lot more potential for yards, for stats, for touchdowns, whatever. And for Bryce's article about him being an all-pro. I mean, if you want to think about how many receivers are in this league, in the AFC alone, I mean, you have Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs. If you want Davis to be an all-pro, if you think he's going to be an all-pro, are you going to say that he's going to put up better stats than Stephon Diggs this year? There's no chance. And it's not to take anything away from Davis. I love Davis. He's a great player. And
it doesn't sound like you love him, Galaxy. It doesn't sound like it, man.
No,
I don't know.
I fear
he's got love-hate relationship.
No, so the crux of my argument goes back to another player on the Bills, not named Gabe Davis, who is I think a very good player. And he was set up with probably some of the highest expectations from any rookie. So right off the cut, Tremaine Edmonds was labeled as the next coming of Luke Kuechly. And he's not that. And he shouldn't have been asked to be that. But he's an above-average player, objectively, as a middle linebacker. But he is now like one of the most hated Bills players. And I wrote an article a few months ago about Edmonds, and all the comments were saying, yeah, but we don't think he's bad. He's just not Ray Lewis. That is an actual comment that was left on my thing. It's like, of course he's not.
Well, yeah.
So I think if we go into this season thinking that Davis is going to put up wide receiver 1 numbers, and then he puts up like 800 yards, which is a fine season, then you're going to be left feeling disappointed. But at the end of the day, he still had a good year.
Yeah.
I just don't want to place those expectations of him putting up wide receiver 1 numbers this year and I mean, he's capable of it. It's not that he's incapable. Mm-hmm. I just don't, as a fan, I don't want to go into this season with that expectation, because then I often find you're just going to be disappointed. Yeah.
So now I think that Gabe Davis is going to, I think there's going to be an increase in target. And if you're just working on averages and numbers, if there's an increase in target share, even if he doubles his targets, like Kevin was talking about earlier, based upon his averages, it is quite possible for him to eclipse the 1,000-yard mark this year. Now, all pro Kev, to Bryce's point, is not necessarily first team all pro. So it could be second team all pro.
Sure.
But now you had talked about him not being good enough to crack the lineup over a guy like Emmanuel Sanders. This is where I disagree with you, and Jenna does too, because she said, bro, Sanders is a vet. There's no way a second-year player would beat him out. The Bills don't operate that way. We know Sean McDermott has a propensity to lean on veterans, and he puts veterans over younger guys, even if the younger guy may be better, but he likes that he trusts the vets better. And I think that was a thing with Emmanuel Sanders. He wanted that veteran guy who actually been there and done that in the league, right? Played with these elite quarterbacks in the league, but also has Super Bowl experience to teach a guy like Gabe Davis, who was just his second year in the league. So I think it was I think it would have been tough for Gabe to beat him out just by that alone. I don't think McDermott would have trusted him to put him in the game just on that standard alone. And then agree with it or disagree with it. What goes on in McDermott's bald head. Sometimes I don't know, because I think that once Davis got in the game, he proved that he was playing better than Emmanuel Sanders. So I think McDermott he needs to probably not lean so heavily on vets and go with the younger guys if they've proven that the talent eclipses some of the vet guys. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was an interesting point.
I would agree with you if Sanders was playing terribly and they didn't put Davis in, but people seem to forget that Sanders was balling for the first part of that season before his injury. He was putting up really good numbers every week. He was one of the most consistent weapons on the offense. So it's not necessarily meant to be a shot at Davis so much as it is just a simple fact that I don't want to expect somebody who had trouble beating out Emmanuel Sanders last year to all of a sudden become an all-pro. I think he'll improve. I'm not saying he's not going to improve, but I think there's a lot of variance between him being better, which he will be, and being an all-pro receiver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bryce, come on, man. This is you, baby. Bryce, what do you got to say about that?
I have 2 points to make. We see with pass heavy offenses that multiple wide receivers can put up wide receiver 1, 1,000, 1,100 yards, whatever, in the same offense, and can still be all pros, Pro Bowlers, whatever you want to say. So I don't think that's completely far-fetched to expect from Gabe Davis this year, especially with the numbers that he's put up as wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 in past years. Second point is I forget who mentioned it, but someone mentioned Buffalo not playing their rookies over vets, even if they're better. We've seen it with Devin Singletary and Frank Gore a few years ago when Singletary was a rookie. We saw it with Allen and Peterman a few years ago too, when Peterman got to start week 1. So I don't think that's how McDermott and his coaching staff operates.
Yeah, I mean, the coaching staff, they value the veterans. They do. Even if they're not better than them, they just put more trust on veterans just because of the experience that they have over some of the young guys. And that's kind of my thing, as it relates to the whole Gabe Davis versus Emmanuel Sanders type of thing. No doubt Emmanuel Sanders was doing pretty good. I mean, look, in 13 games, he had over 600 yards receiving. So he did pretty good last year considering, right? But he was a vet. He was a vet, and there was just no way. There was no way Gabe Davis, as good as he is, and even though his potential probably is even greater than Emmanuel Sanders, I believe can be in his offense, there was no way he was going to crack the starting lineup over Emmanuel Sanders just because of that. Just because of that alone. Kev, I mean, what do you think? What do you think about Gabe Davis and the whole Emmanuel Sanders thing?
Were you saying before that I said before that Sanders? What were you saying that Sanders should have played over Davis, or that I was saying something? I was trying to think of. Yeah, no, because when you queued up that chat, because I was trying to think of it. I was trying to think of what you were saying, because I thought you said that I said that Davis shouldn't have played over Sanders or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't say that. At least I don't think I did. I don't think. I think Gabe. I think me personally, I'm saying that I think Gabe should have played over Sanders. I think his talent wise, and even his potential should have garnered him an earlier start. But just because of how McDermott operates, we knew that just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't think that Sanders should have been in the Gabe Davis role. I think they just should have gotten more of an even split, because I think Sanders had a really good year last year, at least in the first half. He was really coming alive, especially in that Kansas City game, that beautiful dart from Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I just think that Davis should have gotten more targets last year, and it shouldn't have taken him as long to get involved in the offense.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, I definitely agree, because what Sanders had, I'm looking at it, he had 72 targets. So he had 72 targets last year compared to Davis's 63. I mean, you got a 10 target difference there. And then Sanders got hurt. But yeah, I mean, a good split would have worked. I think Gabe still just needs more targets. And I mean, that's what we're going to see. We're going to see that this year in the target share. But Bryce, I need you to clap back, man, at Alex, brother, because Alex, when you put that article, when you said that, man, about Gabe, dude, I was like, I feel some type of way, man, and it's hard for me to say that you because you put it in the article, man. You said, now let me be clear, I love Gabe. It doesn't sound like you love Gabe Davis to me, man. It just doesn't sound like it. You were talking about him being put in the Tremaine chamber. Very, very, very interesting point there. And you had touched on it earlier. This is a circle back there, because that's interesting. You had said that you fear that Gabe Davis is going to be placed into the Tremaine chamber. Explain that to me real quickly, and then I've got something to say about that.
Okay, so I think that if you take a player and you raise their expectations before they've necessarily proven that, then you risk the fan reception being more negative, even if their production's fine, ultimately. Like, I think Edmonds, for example, which is like the Tremaine chamber, it's like people were expecting him to be an all-pro linebacker and play at like this crazy level because of all of his like physical attributes, and he does a good job, but he's not like an all-pro level linebacker, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of difference between the two, but he is still he's still, because he's not at that level, his play that is fine, is good, I'd say above league average, doesn't matter because fans are still wanting more. And I think that if we keep going on this trend of Davis is going to put up wide receiver 1 numbers for the entire offseason, and then he comes out and he has like maybe 800 yards next year, then you might run that same risk of him being hated, even though his production's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that production.
Right now 800 yards, on what type of reception count? You see what I'm saying? Because to me that's where I would draw the line. I guess that's what would determine whether or not I'm be disappointed in, and not necessarily disappointed in him, but to me it'd be disappointed in the target share and the reception share. If he gets a lot of targets and a lot of receptions, and only and falls woefully short, let's just say he gets 800 yards, even less, and his averages are different, then I'll be like, well, what happened? It depends on how they're using him, because over 2 years he's averaged over 16 yards per reception. So if he gets the target share but less yardage, that means his average is going to be lower, which means he's probably being used differently. But here is just to kind of piggyback on your whole Tremaine Edmonds chamber. This is where I push back with it. Tremaine, I agree with the expectations and stuff like that, right? But here's the difference. Gabe Davis wasn't a first-round draft pick. Mm-hmm. See, Tremaine Edmonds was drafted in round 1.
Either.
He didn't know, right? Tremaine Edmonds was not only drafted in round 1, they traded up for him to be the starting middle linebacker, to be the center cog of Sean McDermott's defense. He wanted him to be that Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis guy. He wanted him to be that guy. Gabe Davis was a 4th-round draft pick, so there was no high expectations set for Gabe Davis as they were for a 1st-round draft pick that they traded up for. That's the difference, in my opinion, is that Tremaine was drafted much higher than Gabe Davis was, and so therefore that comes along with being drafted in round 1, along with trading up for him in round 1, comes those high level expectations. Just like we're going to put expectations on Greg Rousseau, just like we're going to put high expectations on Kyer Elam. The expectations to me for Tremaine Edmonds are warranted just because of where they selected him and what they expect out of him. Now, granted, is there other times when people could kind of go overboard, like you mentioned earlier, Alex, about well, he's no Ray Lewis. Well, come on, you can't compare anybody to freaking Hall of Fame guys, right? But what I'm saying is there's a big difference between being drafted in round 1 expectations from being drafted in round 4 expectations. I think that's the difference, and that's where I would kind of push back when it comes to the Tremaine chamber.
No, I agree completely. But see, when a player gets drafted and they end up in training camp, the way I perceive it is that they're all on the team. I don't really care where somebody's drafted. Like, I think the only exception would be like Josh Allen. Like, you have a top 10 quarterback, he needs to be the franchise guy. I think that's the one exception. But if I have a receiver in round 5 and he balls out, that's great. If we have a linebacker round 1, and I think about it like this, I think Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds are pretty comparable in terms of their stats. One is received well because he was a 5th-round pick, and one is hated on because he's a 1st-round pick, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're pretty similar in terms of the production. They play different roles, which translates differently, especially on the broadcast, but they are pretty comparable, I think. And
comparable in terms of production?
Kind of, yeah. Like, I think what they provide for the defense, Edmonds' production is a little bit less on the stat sheet. He plays, I kind of liken it to, it's kind of a weird analogy, but I kind of liken it to him being in the one tech role. Like, if he was on a defensive line, where if you put a true one tech in on the D line, they're not racking up stats. But what he does is he's a space eater. He's absorbing all this contact, where you have Edmonds in the back. He's absorbing the entire middle of the field. He's using his length and his speed. He's taking away passing lanes. He's doing all that. That does not really translate to the stat sheet. Milano is more of like that 3 tech where he'll clean up on Edmonds and his space eating. So
okay,
it's a little different. Like, it's not going to translate well into stats. So if you pull up their raw stats, it looks different. But I think they are comparable in the efficiency that they provide to the defense. But one is perceived better because of his draft stock, like you were saying. And I agree with you 100% that fans will definitely have more expectations for higher draft picks. I kind of struggle with that. Like, I get it, but also at the same time, like, they're all on the team. I want everybody to succeed. So if somebody's doing good, I don't care where you're drafted. And if somebody's doing bad, like, then they shouldn't play. But I understand it's business and all that jazz. But, like, yeah. I don't think because if you trade up for a linebacker in the 1st round, then he should be an all-pro level guy. I think you can trade up for an above-average linebacker, especially if he's not going to be at your next pick.
Kev, what do you guys say about that, man? The whole comparison between Tremaine Edmonds and Gabe Davis. You know, like Alex was talking about. You know, Gabe Davis falling into the Tremaine Edmonds chamber with the expectations. Do you think do you see it that way?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get too far down the Tremaine Edmonds line here because I don't want to deflect the story here with Gabe Davis. Because I do have another point about Davis, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of right in the middle of Alex and Bryce. I don't think Davis will have an all-pro season, but I also don't think that, that he's getting overhyped right now. And I think going back to what I was saying earlier, I could totally see him doubling his receptions, if not more, putting up, 80 or 90 receptions. We'll just go 1,100 yards and 9 or 10 touchdowns. And I think he's going to have a great year. Regardless of stats, I could see him totally changing the Bills' plans in terms of their spending next offseason, because I could see Davis putting up numbers where the Bills are going to say, hey, maybe we should lock this guy up before his year number 4 when he gets way too good and expensive for us. And I think that's going to be a conversation that we're going to be having next offseason is, should we start thinking about paying Gabe Davis before he really blows up? Because, again, tying it back to what we were saying earlier with like Emmanuel Sanders and everything, I think he's definitely going to have increased production this year now that he is wide receiver 2. He's put on 17 pounds of muscle. He's working out like crazy. I see all these videos of him, and he has that trust with Josh Allen. But at the same time, because of the weapons that we have on offense now, and there's just so many pieces to this puzzle, that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm not going to go as far as where Bryce was saying that he's going to be an all-pro, just because I think there's going to be so much to pass around here. But I definitely think that he's going to have a great year.
Yeah, and I just think that, with Alex, with the whole, the expectation comparison, which is why I brought that up there with the falling into a Tremaine Edmonds chamber, is just with the expectations. I think that the expectations going forward into this season with Alex, with Alex, yeah, with you too, Alex, but with Gabe Davis, I think they're okay. I don't think they're too lofty. Now I haven't seen any like super lofty expectations. Now I mean I brought Bryce because he had used the term All Pro, and I was like, yo, wait a minute, hold on, fam, what are you talking about? But he could be a second team All Pro, considering the fact that of what Cole Beasley did, the numbers he put up on his second team All Pro year. But regardless of whether or not he's All Pro or not, I think that if they increase his targets, I think that's what it boils down to. As a wide receiver too in this offense, if they increase his targets and if they even come close to doubling, that's where I think we're going to see the huge jump in reception yards in Gabe Davis going into the season. Because man, it's hard not to see the possibility. And this is the realistic possibility of that happening just by virtue of increasing his targets, along with you've got Diggs, you've got some guys underneath that could probably open things up as well. But again, we're gonna have to wait until training camp to see how all of this shakes up, which is why tomorrow, man, is going to be so incredibly important. Is anybody here watching? I mean, going to training camp?
I should be going this Monday, actually.
Oh, sweet.
I can get tickets from one of my friends, at least.
Kev, are you going?
I'm not, unfortunately.
No. Alex, no.
No.
I do want to say real quick with the Edmonds-Davis comparison, the reason why it's hard for me to compare the two is because I see Edmonds as a guy that we're wondering if we should re-sign him based on his play. And with Davis, it's not should we re-sign him, it's how much should we re-sign him for eventually. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to try to compare the two, because I think Davis is already on a different level than Edmonds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that it's interesting because, like, I personally wouldn't pay Tremaine Edmonds. I think he's a very good player, but I don't want to pay two off-ball linebackers over $10 million. That's just like team building wise. I think that's an awful decision. So like I'm not coming at it from the way of should we pay him, because I would go no at this point, unless he takes like an amazing jump next year and he plays at like an all-pro level, then maybe I would have that discussion. But for now, if he plays around the same level as next year, I would not re-sign him, not because he's a bad player, just like from a team building perspective. But I also think it's way too early to think about like should we pay Gabe Davis? Like I don't know, maybe if he's an all-pro receiver.
I mean, going into year 3, yeah. I mean, we because he was drafted in the 4th round, so we're not going to have that 5th-year option. So I mean, we have to figure it out between this year and next year. It just depends on the type of season he has. I don't want it to be prematurely either. You know what I'm saying? Because let's not forget, we still have Khalil Shakir on the roster too, a rookie. So before we start shelling out money to our receivers, I mean, we may need to just kind of let this thing play out a little bit. At least possibly wait until Gabe Davis starts the beginning of his, his 4th year season. You know what I'm saying? We can always do that. Then we don't have to wait. We don't have to do it this year or at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. But man, I'm glad that we've gotten, you two, Alex and Bryce, here on the show to hash it out, man, because this is definitely going to be something that we're going to have to be looking forward to in training camp and even throughout the season, right? I mean, even throughout the season, some of these training camp battles, where things are going to shake up, the running back position with James Cook, how used, I mean, how much are we going to use him, come the regular season? I mean, is Gabe Davis going to beat out Jamison Crowder for targets? You know what I'm saying? What about O.J. Howard? You know what I'm saying? Where's this guy? He's kind of like been lost and forgotten in the offense. Are there too many mouths to be fed? Are we all capping? You know what I'm saying? On all of this, and his offense is going to look different. We don't know, man, but we're excited about it. I'm excited about it. I know you guys are, and we can't wait until tomorrow. I'm not too sure how much news we're going to get tomorrow starting training camp, but I guarantee you this much: football is right around the corner. And I want to thank you guys. It's around the corner, baby. It's around the corner. Thank you guys for watching. Everybody who was in the chat commenting, who's going back and forth. We couldn't appreciate you guys any more than we do. I mean, this show would not go on if it were not for all of you crazy Buffalo fanatics out there. Even you objective fanatics like my man Alex down here. Alex down here. We thank you guys so much. Yo, Kev, appreciate you for joining, man. Any final words you got?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to the stadium tonight for the Garth Brooks concert. So I'm looking forward to that because the last time I was in that building, it was -5 degrees. So now it's going to be 85 and it's going to be a lot of fun. I love country. I love the Bills. So why not combine the two?
Nice. That's going to be fun, man. That's going to be fun. What about you, Bryce? What you got going on, man?
I just wanted to go back to the Gabe Davis point one last time.
Okay. Make it quick, man. You got 30 seconds.
Yep. Beasley, with him gone, he has over 100 targets and 85 receptions that he's just leaving open for this offense to take. And why not either half or a little more than half be to Gabe Davis?
Yeah, I think it's possible, man. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of those targets that are left. If there's a lot of meat left on the bone, is what I'm saying, and they're going to share it depending on who's going to get the larger piece of the meat. I don't know. It's just going to depend on what happens in training camp. Alex, my man, thank you, brother, for joining the show, man. Appreciate
Thanks for having me.
First time on the Writers Club. First time of many, brother. What you got going on, man? You got anything happening this weekend? Or talk about any potential articles you got coming on. What's up?
I've been talking to Zach about a few ideas and might have something cooking up soon. But we'll see. Don't want to show my hand too much.
Kev, I didn't ask you, man. Do you got any things in the pipeline, man?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be working on an article this weekend. I think I'm just going to keep ripping through the rankings because there's not too much to talk about, and I don't want to take any of these guys' ideas as we're all trying to figure out what to write about. So I think I'm just going to continue on with the rankings, and I'm going to do the offensive line this week and finish up the offense, and then we'll get into the defense in I was going to say August, but there's still one more week left in July.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be the last week of the offense, and then I'll jump into the defense next week.
Nice. Bryce, do you have anything in the pipeline, man? Any articles you got coming up?
A bunch of training camp articles I have. I want to do some 53-man roster predictions, positional ranking, stuff like that. What holes we might need to address.
Sweet. So look, ladies and gentlemen, all of these articles, all of this content, guess where you can find it? You can find it on the BF Network app. We are an hour and 53 minutes into the show. If you haven't downloaded the app by now, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's happening. Download the app. Download it. You can find all of these guys. Kevin Syracuse, you can find his articles. Alex, you can find his articles. Bryce, you can find his where is he? There he is. You can find him. You can find all of them on the BF Network app. In addition to merch, when you want to get that fan merch, the season is popping, baby, and you want to make sure you get your gear right. So, for myself, Rev, Kevin Syracuse, Bryce Martino, Alex Spencer, this is the Buffalo Fanatics Riders Club, and we want to thank you guys for joining us for another edition. And stay tuned because we will be right back again. Same bat channel, same bat place next week. And I guarantee you, man, you don't want to miss it because training camp is going to be underway and we're going to have a lot to talk about. So again, we appreciate you guys for joining the show. On your way out, hit that like button, smash that like button, share it with everybody that you know, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you again next week. Until next time, baby, as always, God bless. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills, baby.